Right now, there's a very high probability that money is leaving your bank account and you don't even know it. You didn't get scammed. Nobody stole your card. You signed up for it. Maybe a few months ago, maybe years ago. Can you name every single active subscription you are paying for right now? Not guess. Actually list them off the top of your head. Most people can name 3 or 4, but when they sit down and actually check their bank statements, the real number is usually double that. There is a massive blind spot between what you think you are spending and what is actually leaving your account. We call that gap the subscription trap, and it is quietly draining the finances of millions of people. The trap relies on a very specific belief. It's $10 a month. That's nothing. And evaluated completely on its own, $10 is a negligible amount of money. Nobody goes broke from 1 subscription. You go broke from 12. Let's look at someone we'll call Alex. Alex tracks their spending. They skip the fancy cars and wild vacations, and they consider themselves highly responsible with money. But take a look at Alex's phone. There is a streaming service for movies, a music app, a cloud storage plan, a fitness app used twice, a meditation app used exactly once, a subscription box for razors, 1 for vitamins, a new site, and 2 completely forgotten apps downloaded on a whim. None of these cost more than $15 a month. Individually, they feel entirely harmless. Add them up though, and Alex is spending over $200 a month on autopilot. Over a year, that totals $2,400. That is a solid car repair fund. That is the seed money for a real investment account. Yet Alex would confidently tell you they rarely spend money on extra things. This happens to smart, highly responsible people because the subscription model targets a psychological vulnerability rather than a mathematical one. If someone asked you to hand over $2,400 in cash right now, your brain would instantly flag it as a major decision. You would pause, you would weigh the cost, your internal threat detection system would activate. But break that exact same amount down into small, segmented monthly fees, and your brain fails to process it as spending money at all. It gets categorized as background noise, becoming the financial equivalent of the hum of a refrigerator. It is always there, so you eventually stop hearing it. Pricing a service at $9.99 a month instead of $120 a year is a deliberate choice. It is the exact same amount of money, but it generates a completely different emotional response. This pricing structure forces consumers to interact with a system engineered specifically to bypass natural cognitive alarms. Have you ever noticed how signing up for a new service takes exactly 30 seconds, but canceling requires navigating through 5 different menus, a confirmation page, and occasionally waiting on hold for a live representative? That is called friction. It is a highly intentional user experience design choice built to protect automated payments. Companies understand a quirk of human nature. Once money is moving automatically, stopping it requires active effort. And to our brains, immediate effort often feels like a heavier cost than a slow, distant financial leak. It is like a treadmill that is slightly annoying to turn off. You might step off, but you leave the belt running because reaching for the switch feels like a chore. But friction is only half the strategy. The final barrier keeping these dead subscriptions alive is the future self fallacy. You ignore the gym app for 3 entire months. The very second you finally sit down to cancel it, a tiny voice chimes in. But what if I start using it again next month? That single thought is usually enough to derail the cancellation entirely. These subscriptions survive because they are insulated by a combination of intentional hassle and false hope. Multiplied across a dozen different services, they create a permanent drain on your income. A $200 monthly leak feels like a minor short-term annoyance, but zooming out reveals the true stakes of this trap. This chart compares 2 different financial paths over a 20-year period. The flat baseline represents those continuous $200 monthly losses. The curve shooting upward shows what happens if that exact same money is invested in the market instead. The massive gap between those 2 lines is your true opportunity cost. Over 2 decades, that silent leak cost tens of thousands of dollars in real wealth. This total accumulates without any change in income or work ethic, simply because the leak remained unnoticed. The primary danger of the subscription trap is its invisibility. You cannot patch a hole you do not know is there. But now that you see the design behind the trap, you hold the power to step off the treadmill and finally turn off the tap.